All right, here's Stacy. Let me send her. And
I'm here.
all right, and there is, let me send that. And I'm going to send this one. I don't know. I feel like Kendra, you had told me that you could not do tonight. I think you were busy with your son, I feel like. I'm not sure. I've had so much going on. I don't even know. But anyway, all right, I got Stacy. And then,
Hey, can you hear me?
oh, well, hey, Kendra.
Hi. Yeah, it rained, so baseball was canceled.
Oh, well, all right. I'm sorry. I've had a crazy busy day. I like literally just texted Stacy like 2 minutes ago and went, "Oh, I'm going live." Like I have been like swamped all day, so I haven't had a chance to invite. So I'm glad you can join us. That's good. So we have a couple of, if y'all could help me, if you see Monstrous podcasts come in here, if anybody sees that, please let me know. Or if Monstrous, or if you are in here, say hi so that I can see you, because I can get you to join. And I've got a couple others that might be joining us. I don't know. I'm not sure if Brad was joining us tonight or not. He might be. If he's in here, he'll tell me. It's a lot of people. Oh, there's Monstrous. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Monstrous up. Did I bring up Mandy? Oh, she's just saying, hey, sorry, you got me confused there. All right, let me hit Monstrous. There we go. All right, I just sent you an invite. There you are. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
So if anyone sees Midnight Mystery Archive or Brad Bradley in here and they're trying to get up, just let me know, because it's hard for me to read the comments and also talk to everyone. So
I got you.
Thank you. So, welcome back.
Before you start, I just want to tell you, you look beautiful. And also, I just saw your Let's Do It TikTok post, because I don't do TikTok. I loved it. You were amazing, and you do so much, and I appreciate you so very, very much.
You probably don't even know what that's about.
I don't.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I just like looking at you and your beautiful face and how you are so good.
Check's in the mail, Stacey. Check is in the mail. Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'll just touch that real quickly. Someone was debating what the Bradleys' timeline is on their cruise and saying that the Bradleys are lying, that the formal dinner was actually on Sunday night, and that they've been lying all of this time, and that they have evidence of that. So That's what that video was about, was like, please post that evidence. And of course they didn't. They don't have any evidence. I mean, that's just the dumbest thing. And that's when you know that people are just evil. Like, evil. I really hope that they're recording this. Like, you really are evil, that you will sit around and come up with lies like that and spread it on social media and act like you know the truth about what the Bradleys were doing on their cruise in March of 1998. Because what, you Googled something and Google made you think you're now an expert? Like, you don't really think the Bradleys know what they were doing the night before their daughter and sister went missing? Like, how stupid are you? So I really, really, really wanted them to go on and post their evidence, because I was waiting, but they've yet to do that, because, they're just who they are, and they have an agenda, and as Brad says, just ignore them, move on.
That's right.
I mean, they're worthless. They're worthless, and they add no value to my life. They certainly aren't helping us at all to find Amy. So it's just dumb to, even deal with people like that. But it's like the stuff they come up with is just so insane. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, don't you have a job? Like, go do something productive in this world. I don't know. All right. Off that soapbox. Okay.
Yep. Get off. Next.
Yep. So that's what that was about. But anyway, so Carrie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm going to start here with this because this is good, positive. Actually, if you can give me just a minute, I want to back up. The
Yeah,
most
no problem.
important thing that I need to start with today, now that I'm past those, is yay, we're up to $100,000 reward. That's the biggest news that happened after last week. Everyone that jumped in and helped us with sharing the interview that the Bradleys did together on Fox, that was very helpful. I mean, I lost count. I work on a lot of the social medias, not all of them. I don't handle the Instagram, but I was literally losing count on how many people were sharing that and tagging the president or vice president, their wives, the White House, everybody. And then we got the call the very next day from the FBI. So that was huge. Did that happen because of it? I mean, we can't say that it did, but it certainly, we've been asking for that reward to be increased for a very, very, very long time. And then when I just loved Iva. We talked about that interview the night before, and she was like, man, I just don't want to cry or, get emotional. She gets, I get upset and cry when I'm talking to you, Sandy. What am I going to do if I'm on TV? And I was like, Iva, this is your opportunity. Like, you get on there and you own it. And when they ask you a question that you've literally answered a million times, segue. I actually didn't say segue. I said redirect. But it was funny when she was in the interview, when she was talking, and she was like, yeah, I'm going to segue over here to this. And I was like, there you go. So her speaking directly to President Trump like that, I think was a good move. And again, getting that call the next day that the reward has gone up to 100,000. That's exactly, what we need. If somebody's going to come forward and actually be the hero and finally give us the information that we need, they weren't going to do it for 25 grand. And we're still of course, trying to connect with Ethan Klein. 1 million would really make somebody talk, right?
Yes.
We have not been able to do that. So if anybody has any connections in that regards, we'd love to, yes, he put it out there. Yes, he said it's binding, but it would make us feel better to have a conversation. And we've tried relentlessly on all social media platforms. We have sent emails. We have sent messages. We've commented on posts. We're not connecting. So I'm not sure what to say about that. But if anybody has any suggestions or thoughts on how to make that connection for the Bradleys to Ethan Klein, feel free to message me about that. And yeah, there was other things that came out last week, and I'll just say this. When you see an article that comes out and it says that Ari Mark is speaking on behalf of the family, that should be your first clue that you are probably reading fake news. And I've said this many times. If you see something, your first thing you should do is go check Brad Bradley's account or his ex account, because if he hasn't posted it over there, it's probably not true. And that stuff that came out last week, I guess it started actually the week before. And it was the one saying the FBI had increased the reward to 25,000, and there's a renewed interest, and there's suspects, and Ari Mark is a spokesperson. And yeah, none of that was true. Obviously, it's not true, because just a few days later, the FBI increases it to 100,000, and it had been 25,000 for 8 or 9 years. And we're not giving updates to Ari Mark. Ari Mark is not a spokesperson for the Bradleys, and he certainly hasn't spoken to anybody from the PI team. So anyway, but there was a lot of other good stuff that was happening last week. So we just appreciate everyone's support and, chiming in. I know it kind of got everybody riled up when they thought that gentleman and his wife was in the Bradley's room. And so that was a lot that we were dealing with. But now we're on to this week. We've got new things that we're focusing on and trying to work on. So I want to jump into Monstrous real quick. I have mentioned this a few times. Carrie, I'm going to let you tell this side of the story from your perspective, but Carrie had initially reached out to the Facebook page and had said, hey, is there anybody that we can talk to? And I think my name and maybe some others had gotten thrown out, but you and I did connect, and this is the podcast that we told you that when she sent it to me initially, girlfriend had done tons and tons of research and work. And when she sent it to me, it was 12 pages. And I read it. And Carrie, you can take it from there on what happened and where we're at now.
Well, initially I had watched the documentary that had come out, and when trying to figure out, what cases we wanted to cover, we wanted to kind of do cases that aren't really all that well known, because a lot of podcasts cover those big ones. And I just kind of felt drawn to Amy's case. And so I decided, well, there's really nothing out there aside from the documentary. And so I did all my research, I wrote it, and I always try to find a way to connect if there's anyone that is still living with the cases that we do. And I found the Facebook page, I posted on there, you and I connected, and then I said, hey, can I send this over to you? Is that all right? Sent it over. There were a lot of things that were incorrect. So you were like, hey, do you have time for a phone call? So I think we sat on the phone for about 2.5 hours going over everything. I made those corrections, and we've just kind of tweaked here and there on little things that I kind of missed going through it because it was a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think we're now up to, 30 pages. Yeah. For notes and comments from you, from Brad, from Iva, different things about I mentioned the Dr. Phil. We talk about the documentary itself, as well as the book that is supposed to be coming out if it hasn't already. So we cover pretty much from day one all the way to today.
Yeah. And really, I've given her credit before on this, but when I said, hey, when I responded, I'm like, I did read page 1, and she does what most people do, right? They go to Google. And after 28 years of people, just like last week, that's a perfect example of the Hollywood Reporter put out that incorrect article, and we knew it was coming because they had reached out and asked for a statement, and we said no comment. So we knew that they were getting ready to do something. We just had to sit back and watch and see what it was going to be about. And then we saw that. And think about how many times y'all have seen that in the past week and a half. Midnight Mysteries on?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. You told me to let you know. I let you know.
Okay.
I got you.
I'm not seeing him. Tell him to, Kevin, you can comment when you're ready to come up, and I'll let you know. I'll send you a guest invite. But back to Monstrous real quick. When I contacted her, I said, listen, either you're going to have to dig in if you really want to do this, or we just don't do it. I said, because I've read the first page, and the first page has got all of this misinformation, which it's out there. If you use Google as your source of information, it's going to happen. It's been 28 years of things that have been put out there that Dr. Phil is a perfect example because he has been recent, but it's been happening the whole entire time of reporters say something that's wrong and they don't go back and fix it. The Dr. Phil was a perfect one of, he could have contacted the Bradleys. He knows them. He interviewed them 20 years ago. Why didn't he reach out to them and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing some podcast on Amy. Thought I'd get an update. Do y'all want to come? No. He does episode 1 and episode 2, and they're completely filled with misinformation. And when we get to him and he's like, well, the persons that were working on it said they were pulling it off the internet. Why y'all are on there saying that Amy's got a whole sleeve of tattoos? What? Where do y'all get this kind of stuff from? And then he has Brad come on episode 3 and 4 and corrects everything that he said wrong. But do you think he took down episode 1 and episode 2?
Nope, they're still up.
It's still up. It's still up. Why? Why? I don't understand why people use this story to garner likes and comments and monetize off of it. And when you know that you've put on wrong information and you're literally having Brad come on to do episode 3 and 4 to correct it, why wouldn't you take episode 1 and 2 down? People are still getting misinformation because you're not retracting the information. it's frustrating. There was a local anchor here. I mentioned this on last week's live, that he's one that actually reposted that article about the new $25,000 reward. This is a guy that knows the Bradleys, literally went to Curacao to report on it. Like, he is close to the Bradleys. Like, why didn't he check with the Bradleys? And he could have looked himself and knew that the FBI had not increased that reward. But he's over there himself, a journalist here in our community, posting that up. So when I went to the general manager and was like, he's got to take that down. That's fake. He knows the Bradleys. He could call them. He took it down. But regardless, do you think now he's in his feelings? So when the actual real news came out that the reward went up to 100 grand, do you think he's posted that? No, because now he's in his feelings. Whatever. So back to monstrous. Very sorry. Just
That's
saying
all right.
that I said, if you're going to do it, then we're going to do it. I'm not putting out more misinformation, because we have to constantly fight that on a day. And to her credit, she said, I'm in. I'm all in, and I want to know every detail. And we did. The very first night we spent on the phone was like 2.5 hours. We have spent many more hours working on it. There was a delay there when my dad passed, but we got back to it. It then went to the Amy team, and there were people on the team that have read it and given feedback and added other things. Brad has read through it. Ron and Iva are almost through it. I think they are on page 26 at this point. But, sorry, monstrous, but Carrie, but I'm going to tell you, she's got more info coming, because she's like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do it. And for us, that is amazing, because just like with that Netflix show, they utilized Amy's story. They sensationalized it. They made millions and millions and millions of dollars off of that. And it's not even a true documentary. It's just a show. It's just a show. And the Bradleys are
And
still
the Bradleys
there.
don't see any of it.
Do what?
The Bradleys don't see any of it. None of it.
And it's like, if you're at least going to do that, and you're going to be the one that makes millions of dollars off of this family's tragedy, wouldn't you at least allow them some creative input? To be able, they watched that show 2 days before the rest of the world. And it's like, wow. So that was a lesson learned. That was the first time that they have experienced the Hollywood effect, I guess I would say. And, they're very cautious now about who they're willing to work with and what they're going to do. Midnight Mystery Archive, he's someone else that, we're now working with, because they're digging in. They're sending it, and they're making sure that the information is correct. They're not just putting out, stuff that they've pulled off of the internet or think that they have the real story because of their own research. So,
right. It's one of those things that, and I'm one of those people, millions of people take true crime cases and mysteries and things and view it as entertainment. But the biggest thing that so many people forget, that these are real life people that go through these things. And you have to remember that, even if you watch it for your own personal entertainment, this stuff really does happen. And you have to have empathy towards that. And if you're going to do it, then you should do it correctly.
And we appreciate that. I know it's been frustrating for you.
No, it's not been frustrating at all. I understand. This is the Bradley story as much as it is Amy's. And if it's going to be done right, if it's going to be done, it should be done correctly. No matter who's doing it, if you're going to put the time into it, then you put the time into it, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah. And maybe frustrating was the wrong word. You've been very kind and patient with all of us. But yes, with my dad passing, we certainly slowed down. And then when I got back to it, we quickly were approaching, the anniversary. And March is just such a hard time for the Bradleys. And I've shared with you all before, it's not just about the 24th. That's the anniversary date of her, disappearing. But it starts well before, for them, it's about what they were doing 28 years ago, getting ready for that. When she's, out with her mom and they're they find that other dog that she's going to take in, Daisy, or they're just out shopping, getting ready for that. And then it's the kids. They're reliving everything about going to San Juan and then everything. I mean, they just go through all of it. And then it's not just the 24th that they're reliving. They then relive the 25th and the 26th and the 27th. Like, it's just a nightmare time for them. And so Iva did shut down a couple weeks, prior to it. And she said, Sandy, I know I've only got like 4 pages to go. It sounds so crazy. She's like, but I can't do it. I cannot look at this right now. We were like, it's fine. Walk away from it and just do it. And she's been out working on Amy's garden like every single day. Every single day, Iva has been in Amy's garden, beautifying it and getting it ready. So she's going to pick that back up here soon, I know. And we're going to finish that out. And I'm hoping that we'll hopefully be able to release that maybe the beginning of May. We were shooting for hopefully maybe Amy's birthday. That would be good. We'll see. We're getting close on it. But we just appreciate everything you've done, Carrie. You've been very patient. You've been very kind. And I just truly appreciate that you are allowing the Bradleys to ensure that what is being put out this time is actually accurate. So thank you for that.
It's the best way to do it. They're here. They're willing to talk to people. They're willing to answer questions. So there's no reason not to.
Yep. Hi, Midnight Mystery. How are you, friend? Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Do you have time to hang out for a few minutes?
Yeah, I can be on for a little bit.
Okay. Kendra was on here before you, so I just want to jump to her real quick. If that's okay. You've got time. All right. So Kendra is on here. Kendra is someone that we met through social media, and she is the brilliant person that came up with the Amy alert petition. She's right. I don't know how we didn't think about it beforehand, which is crazy, but hey, it is what it is. And so she was the one that came to the Bradleys and said, I'd like to put this in. I mean, she's never, ever claimed that she hated cruises and was never going to ride on a cruise. What she basically said was, after seeing this, I do go on cruises. My family, enjoys cruises. I'd like to feel safe going on these in the future. So she was like, I, want to help making this a safer route. So she's dug in. So Kendra, I know you've done a lot more background research on all of this. So one, we've thanked you a million times, but do you want to just speak real quickly about the Amy Alert petition? And
Yeah, so if anyone is in here and you have not signed it, it's over on change.org. It might ask you for a donation. You do not have to donate. That's basically just money that goes to change.org to get them to promote it on different platforms and stuff, I guess. I don't know. I don't deal with any of that. But yeah, and basically, like Sandy said, I just came up with it because I cruise and I could not believe that there was not something like this. I kept looking. I'm like, what do you mean? There's nothing like this. There's nothing like this. And then honestly, I started digging more and more into it. And I just saw like how corrupt the industry really is. And I feel like not enough people understand it or call them out on it. And yeah, like I won't tell people like, don't cruise, like obviously do what you want and do it cautiously. But I feel like, we're made aware of the things that can happen when we go on airplanes to us, when we drive in a car. So I feel like it should be honestly the same way for a cruise. You should be made aware that when you're in international waters, it's lawless. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. And through that, I've realized, there's internationalcruisevictims.org, which is great. And we just, you need to have changes, and people deserve to feel protected in situations like this. We're protected in a big city. We should be protected on waters. I don't know.
so you only need to be 13, I believe it is, to sign it. I think it's 13. I'll check that and verify for you, but I'm pretty sure you only have to be 13 or older in order to sign. Sorry that this is all shining up in my glasses, but I want to read this to y'all. We are at 33,589 signatures at the moment, so that's amazing. Right now, cruise ships do not have a mandatory alert system, a required ship-wide lockdown, a legal timeline for searching, transparent reporting protocols, a way to notify passengers immediately, or true accountability when someone disappears. So an Amy alert would require an instant alert to all passengers and crew through the cruise app. Like, how amazing would that have been? I get it. We didn't have all that technology, but just imagine that if when the Bradleys first told Lou Costello when he's standing in the hallway 30 feet from their door, when Ron says, hey, I can't find my daughter, if an alert had went out right then to the whole entire crew, whether it was on the cruise app, whether it came through as a text message, whether it went up on all of the cruise TVs, like there were so many things that could have been done to immediately start addressing that situation. And that wasn't happening. A full ship search of cabins, hallways, public areas, and restricted spaces. And I would add, not done by the crew. The crew should not be searching their own rooms. If you have someone, if you're a crew member and you have someone, do you think the crew member is going to come out and be like, I got her, she's in here, sorry? Yeah. A full, man overboard scans and water searches if necessary, automatic reporting to the Coast Guard and maritime authorities. So if you have not signed, please go over to change.org, just put in Amy Alert, and it'll come up, and sign that. And please encourage other people to sign. Doesn't matter if you aren't going on a cruise, just sign it. You know people that are going to go on a cruise and you want them to be safe. And these cruise lines are not looking out for you. They're $1 billion industry. You're in international waters once you're 12 miles off of the off land, and it's jurisdiction and who's gonna go after who when something does happen becomes just a nightmare for everybody. So go sign that and help us push that. And we are going to put up some letters here soon on the Amy Bradley is Missing website that you can send out to elected officials, on a state level and a federal level. So once they're approved and we put them up on there, I will let you know that as well. So anything else, Kendra, that I missed?
No, you're good. And
All
thank
right.
you guys.
I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you've done on that. So moving, I want to segue over now. I'm going to segue now over to Midnight Mystery Archive. I felt really bad for you last week because I felt like you got lost in all that was going on. It was such big news for that family to find out about that $100,000 reward. And I know that episode 2 of your series came out on Friday, and I messaged you and I'm like, there's so much going on this page, on these social media pages right now, that I feel like you're just going to get lost. So thanks for being patient.
I didn't feel like I got lost. I'm still doing my
felt
thing.
like if we put out one more thing, that it was just going to be like, good Lord, like we were like all over the place with putting stuff out there. So
you guys are more than helpful, so don't ever worry about that.
Yeah. So tell everyone about episode 2, where they can find it.
Yeah. So episode 2 really kind of set the stage for March 24th, 1998. And the way that I did it was really framing up what is a cruise experience like. And I think one of the themes of a cruise experience is the fact that you don't ever have to worry about anything. And I think when you're in an environment like that, it breeds a sense of false security. And that kind of allowed me to segue into a conversation I had with Brad, which was centered around what was their trip like up to March 24th. And really what you find out is actually quite a nice trip. And they were having a great time. And then all of a sudden, March 24th happens, and everything just goes to hell. And I think it's important to paint that picture because of the episode 3 that'll launch on Friday, which is really all about that morning, March 24th, 1998. So yeah, that was episode 2. I've gotten some really great feedback on it.
Good.
When I did the episode, I thought it was important just for a contextual episode, and I'm like, well, this is probably not going to be the one that gets a lot of feedback, but I actually got a lot of feedback on it, and it was actually really good. So, because they liked it. I mean, the people who listen to it, they like the fact that it's like, wow, you really set the stage, and nobody's ever really done that. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, that was basically what I was trying to do, but I didn't think it would be super exciting or interesting.
Yeah.
But in fact, people have quite liked it. So I'm happy that it's come out the way that it has. And I'm really excited about Friday when I put out episode 3, because I think that'll be a very, very detailed telling of the morning.
Yeah.
And the truth is we only get a smattering of what happened that day, and then we have to pull all those different tellings together to kind of frame up, okay, well, what really happened? And I hope this is a pretty cohesive telling of that morning.
Did you connect with Brad last night, by the way?
Yeah, we've
Okay.
been texting and talking, so yes.
All right. Did he have to correct a lot?
No, it was just a couple of things. And then he texted me something today, and he's like, I don't know if you noticed this. And funny enough, when I was fixing what I was doing, or what he told me yesterday, I caught it and had already fixed it. So.
Okay. All right, good. I'm glad it wasn't a lot then. That makes me feel good.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
And so tell everyone where they can watch, and if they've missed episode 1, they can go back and watch episode 1, or listen, not watch, but listen.
Yeah, so basically you can find the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. You can also access it through my YouTube channel as well, where all the episodes are automatically uploaded to the YouTube channel. One thing I also want to call out too, last week I did an interview with Chris Fenwick, who joined you a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
One of the things that I've started to do with the podcast is do more interviews, and largely because of this series, but it's, I've also done it with a couple of other topics I've covered. And so what I'm doing is tomorrow I'm going to launch the full interview with Chris, and I'm calling it Witness Wednesday. So people who are, have firsthand knowledge of, the cases that I've covered, you can hear the entire interview rather than just clips of it. And I can tell you, it's something.
Okay. And so that's not going to be a part of the series. That's going to be separate, but they can still find it in the same place.
Yeah, it'll show up in the podcast feed. It's the first time I've launched it as a Witness Wednesday, but I have intentions to do more of that.
Okay. All right. I know you had asked about some others, and I didn't forget about that, but it's just been crazy busy with everything that was happening. And it was also Easter. So, there was a lot going on in my world with that. So thanks for your patience.
Yeah, no problem.
So episode 3 is going to come out this Friday.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay. And I really, really love this partnership that you have with Invisaware, and I'd love for you to tell people about that. I kind of feel like,
yes,
if we never ever are able, and I don't want to even put it out in the universe, but if we aren't able to ever find out what happened with Amy, I like to think that, well, what other things were we able to affect? And I think Kendra's Amy Alert petition is one of them. And now that I see the Invisaware connection, and I'm like, yes. So I'm so glad that these things are coming to us, that we can put it back out into the world and help other families. And that's not just on a cruise ship. That's just in general life. I have a 15-year-old, that's about to be driving on her own here soon. And it's like, when I look at the products on Invisaware, and I think it gives me a little bit of peace of mind of like that. So go ahead and tell people. I don't want people to just go to Invisaware and shop, because they need to go through you.
Yeah, I'll explain that, but you're right, Sandy. So when I first talked to Brad about doing this series, one of the things I started to think about was, thinking back in 1998, right? Like, what could have been something that would have prevented what happened to Amy from happening? And so I'm looking at, different products and safety products that maybe I could promote during the series. And I came across Invisaware. And Invisaware is basically jewelry, necklaces,
Keychains,
yeah,
bracelets,
keychain bracelets.
even hair
And
scrunchies.
yeah, so basically what it is, it's personal wearable safety devices. And what it does is you can set up an emergency contact with your jewelry. That way, if you're ever in an incident where you're at risk, you feel threatened, you're concerned for your safety, you can click the button. It's very discreet, and it'll send your emergency contact your GPS location. And to me, I think about Amy in 1998. My God, if something like that could have existed then, guess what? None of us would be having this conversation. I'm convinced of it. So during their 12-part run of our Amy Bradley series on the podcast, if you go to invisaware.com/Midnight Mystery Archive, buy a piece of wearable safety jewelry, you will get 10% off your first order, and any commission that I get, I will then donate 100% of it to the GoFundMe to help fund the Bradleys' ongoing efforts to find Amy and bring her home.
Which we greatly appreciate. But that's what I wanted to stress is that just don't go to the Invisaware website. You need to go to one of your podcasts, right?
Yeah.
In order
So
to
you
get
can
that
go to
link.
Invisaware.com/Midnight Mystery Archive. You can type that right in.
Oh.
Or I've linked it on my X account, and it's also in all my show notes as well for the podcast.
Okay. Can I put that link up on our link tree?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then, all right. So I will do that.
I'll text it to you.
Yep. And then we'll put that up on Amy's link tree, and you all can go there. And then that way, if you go through that, you're getting that 10% discount from Kevin. And if the website is amybradleyismissing.com, and then one of the tabs is the link tree. So I'll get that put up on there. So I've been really looking into this stuff because it's really impressive. And I just want to tell you that I've actually learned that message, when you click that button, actually will go out to, it can go up to 5 contacts. So not just one, it goes up to 5. The other thing I thought was really amazing about that, because I thought about my daughter, if she called and couldn't get me on the phone and she was getting nervous, you have the option on there that you can call into their system. They have like a 24-hour support where somebody will come up on the phone and will talk to you while you're somewhere. Like you're nervous and you feel like you're being followed.
It is a great product and great technology. I mean, when I saw it, I'm just like, oh, this would be perfect.
It's amazing. So I really, really encourage you. Right now, it's invisaware.com/Midnight Mystery Archive. Is that right? All right. So if y'all can remember that yourselves, you can go ahead and start promoting it and telling people about it, and they'll get a 10% off discount by using that link. But I will put it up on the link tree as well. So
that's great.
All right. Anything else that we need to touch in regards to you? And with it,
I don't think so. I just, I'm really thankful for, your support, and Brad and Mr. and Mrs. Bradley. You've all been very, very helpful to me. And I'm just very thankful that I get to, do this podcast and help out.
Well, I'll tell you, we look at it this way. I mean, you might say, well, I don't have I'm not the number one podcaster in the world, right? That doesn't matter to us. What matters to us is that you have integrity. And that's the same thing as to you, Carrie. It doesn't matter that you have millions and millions of followers. It's the fact that you all are taking the time and you're doing the right thing, and you're making sure that the Bradley story gets told correctly, and so that's out there in the world now, and it can combat all of the stuff that just gets put out there incorrectly. So we'll be able to point when people want to have a synopsis of the beginning and end. Okay, go over to Monstrous. They put out a podcast that Iva and Ron and Brad were literally able to rewrite every single thing that was, it wasn't her fault. She's pulling information off of there. Kevin, I know you've been with us for a long time on this ride, and you knew a lot of the information, but even with putting it together, it's a lot, isn't it? And trying to keep up with all of the details.
And it's amazing what you forget over time.
Yeah.
And it's also amazing how much you continue to learn.
Yes. And so, but again, you stopped and you were like, look, let me fix it. Let's get it right. So I just appreciate that both of you are working with very high morals, high values, high integrity. And that means the world to the Bradleys right now in this crazy world that they're dealing with, people just making outlandish, claims. And they put it out there like it's fact. I mean, it's wild. But at any rate, Carrie, is there anything else that I needed to touch with you as well?
I don't think so. I think we'll both, once we have a release date, we'll be able to get that announced to everyone, so that way everyone knows when to expect that. You can find the podcast anywhere that you get your podcasts. So we're pretty easy to find. We're not on X or anything like that. We're just on TikTok and Facebook. So we'll make sure to announce that. I know Sandy will announce that as well. I think we've covered everything up to this point.
I'm so sorry. Is it monstrous? Does it have some letters after that? I'm so sorry. I should know that by now. But
no, that's okay. When you search for us, so the podcast name is Monstrous, but when you search for us, we're under Monstrous TC Pod.
Okay, I thought it was something else. So Monstrous TC Pod, anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Thank you again for joining tonight. I appreciate that. And let's see. Stacy, I see tons and tons of messages are everywhere. Are there?
I've been watching and answering them.
Oh, you have been? Okay.
Yes,
Is there anything
ma'am.
that I need to address or touch here, or?
Not yet,
Sorry.
but not that I have seen as of yet. I'm sure somebody will let me know, but you do have Brad and Mama's in.
Man, look, I am just now seeing his request to join. Sorry, Brad. Let's see.
Jeez.
Are you there, Mr. Brad?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm
All
here.
right, buddy.
Hold on one sec.
I have been steadily talking over here and did not see your invite, so my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. How's everybody doing?
You know.
What up, Brad?
What's up, Stacy? How you doing?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing all right. I'm sorry. So the Monstrous podcast. What's your first name?
Carrie.
Carrie.
Yes.
Well, it's first time getting to see you or speak with you personally. So nice to meet you, and thank you
It's
for
nice
what
to
you're
meet you
doing.
as well.
Yeah.
Not a problem at all. I'm so glad that we're able to join in and be a part of Amy's army, and hopefully between I know the Midnight Grind is gonna done a few things, and so hopefully between us and
Just laughing.
Midnight Mystery and the Grind, we'll be able to get Amy's story out there. Maybe it'll reach the right person.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. And Midnight, you know how I feel about you. So keep doing what you're doing.
You bet.
I remember when I told Brad that I had gotten the first script though from Carrie about the Monstrous, and I said, well, it's 12 pages, but there's a lot that I'm fixing, so I'm going to work on it and I'll get it. And then I sent it later, and he went, Jesus, it's 30 pages. I was like, yep, I've been doing a lot of work over here. so yeah. And hopefully Iva will be able to finish that up soon. And I was talking to Carrie about that, hoping maybe Amy's birthday, we can shoot for that, to have that to come out. So we'll see. All right. So big week, big reward. Like, what are your thoughts? What do you need us to do?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're
15 minutes.
Yeah, we're working on a press release currently to get it out to all the news agencies that haven't heard about it. I've got an upcoming interview, my second interview with Emily Campagno on the Fox True Crime Digital podcast series. That's probably going to be in about 2 weeks. And there's several other, people reaching out for interviews and things like that. So I think the word is out there, but we're going to, continue pushing that. So we can get as many people to know about it as possible. We're still trying to get in touch with Ethan Klein and his $1 million reward offer that he made several months ago. I've never been able to elicit any response from him or his people or his podcast, and I've sent emails and asked several others, including the producers of the Netflix documentary, to try and help facilitate contact with him. So hopefully at some point we'll get him, and we can post a $1.1 million reward. And, I feel like that would be, a significant enough amount of money to hopefully incentivize somebody to come forward with information if they've held on to it until now.
Absolutely.
We just had a question pop up asking who is Ethan Klein. I don't know if Brad wants to take that.
Ethan Klein is I don't know how to describe him. I mean, he does a podcast called H3 Podcast, and it's based out of LA. I don't even know that they have a studio. I think it's done from a home studio or something. But they've got a presence on Instagram and on I don't know about TikTok, but Instagram I've seen quite a bit from him and some of the people on his podcast whose names escape me right now, but you can find it if you look for it. But he's a guy that does kind of a crazy podcast and a lot of crazy things, but he's offered an amazing amount of money. And when I watched the interview clip, which we've posted, not too long ago, within the past several days, I found him to be very sincere and serious about his offer. But until I speak with him, I've hesitated to, publicize his offer because I don't want to claim something that isn't necessarily, still a legitimate offer. Although again, when he said it, he talks about it being a binding agreement. I don't know if legally that means anything just because he said it on air, but that's the extent of who I know him to be.
Are there other questions out there? Stacy, Amanda, y'all seeing anything? So of course we will. Anything
Yes,
else,
I have
Brad?
a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Has
I'm
the
gonna sit
lady
back.
in the background in the dancing, the one who many believe is GM, has she ever been identified?
No, we've had a couple of people that are, have some expertise in photo engineering or manipulation or whatever you want to call it, and that is still an unknown.
And then the other question, which is, I will let you handle, Brad, is, are there any leads?
There are some leads, and I'm not going to, speak publicly on them because I need to speak with our investigator about the latest information. I haven't spoken to him in several days, and there's some things that are going on, some things we're looking into, but there are leads and things that are being followed. Nothing concrete yet, but hopefully I can share some of that information with everybody once I'm authorized to do so.
All right. We had some questions from last week that we didn't have the answers, and I'm not going to speak on it if I don't have an answer. You got time to answer a couple of those?
Sure.
And they're real quick. We've only got 10 minutes, so we won't bombard you. There were some questions that were sent to me today about the person where the pictures that were taken, the person that I guess your mom had to reorder, was that person found? And was that person able to give you, I know the answers to this, I'm just trying to set you up. Was that person able to give you any description of who purchased those photos?
Well, the guy that we found, I'm not sure if he was the actual guy that mom, put in the reprint ticket order for. But one of the guys on the photography team or staff or whatever has told us that he witnessed a white man in his 40s who was, I guess, tall and thin is how he described him, with gray hair, purchased the pictures, all of Amy's pictures, for $200 that night. And he's, we've shared all kinds of different pictures with him. He's not been able to positively identify, although he has suggested that, one of the pictures that we've showed him, which I'll I'll not put the name out here, is striking to him, I guess I would say. So that's, I don't know, again, I don't know if he's the guy that mom talked to that night or not, but he was on the staff and was apparently there at the time.
Okay. Another question we had last was Margarita Island. Ever searched anything that's ever happened on that island?
I don't know. I'd have to ask mom. There were so many for several years. There were so many different teams of investigators and Interpol agents and different things that we sent to various places, and I'm not sure that Margarita Island is one of them. I know that there were several investigators or people that contacted a lot of these adult resort places trying to set appointments with Jazz, and I can't say for a fact I know that they were there in person when they did that, or whether they contacted them, online or by phone or anything like that. But I can get back to you with the better answer once I've spoken to mom and dad about it.
Okay. The waiter, I think his name is Eduardo. Was he cleared?
I don't know. FBI hasn't, won't share that type of information with us. I suppose he was cleared because nothing happened to the guy, and he's been out living his life for the past 28 years.
Yeah.
But his name was Eduardo Cabrita, and don't know.
Yeah. They were asking about Yellow's ex-wife, if she can be of any assistance or help at this point for you all.
Yeah, we've actually, our investigator has communicated with her many times. We've got transcripts of their phone calls. She's provided a lot of information, and they continue to communicate to this day. So, and Amika has helped to facilitate some of that. So, we do find her to be helpful. I feel like she knows a bit more than she might be revealing at this point. And the FBI shared the same sentiment with us way back when they had interviewed her, and they shared with us that they felt like she knew more. So hopefully we'll be able to get that out of her at some point.
Okay. Any other questions that have come up, Stacy, that I'm not seeing?
No, ma'am, not that I have seen. Someone did ask if that was Brad, and I responded, and they said you're a hottie.
Well, thank you.
Facts. Okay. So I think that the last thing I'll then end on is I do want to thank everyone that took the time to send in the age progression photos that either they've created themselves or they've seen other people do, and we're posting them over there on Facebook. That helps because you get so many of them on different days and different times, and then you forget what's going on. Hold on, let me do my little.
Yeah, Sandy, there's a little update on that.
Yep, that's where I was going.
Yes, I'm sorry to cut you short there.
No, go right ahead.
I've been emailing back and forth with the lead agent on the case, and basically they sent me an email yesterday saying that basically their forensic artist team or personnel, I guess the FBI isn't willing to just put up AI generated photographs. So what they have basically admitted to is that, the age progressions that are on the current reward poster are a decade old and need to be updated. So they're working with their team. They've asked for recent photos of myself as well as photos of my parents when they were roughly my age now, or the age that Amy would be, 51, 52. So they're working on some new renderings of those age progressions, and hopefully they'll be a bit better than the ones we've had.
Yeah. And did you just say that? Did you say they're using all three of you?
Yeah.
As well? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was reading something I didn't, but anyway. So yeah, we're excited about that. That'll be nice. We know those age progression photos that are on the current reward poster are, not good, but we've got better technology and we hope to get that out. And so we'll certainly be asking you all to share that and spread that as soon as we have it. But in the meantime, there's other photos and information that you can still keep pushing out and letting people know that there is up to $100,000 reward. So hopefully somebody will submit information. Of course, the FBI always says you can contact them, but we would love, if you contact the FBI, okay, great. But we'd love for you to also contact Amy Bradley is missing at gmail.com, or you can also call the phone number, which is the 804-789-4AMY. So the number 4 and then AMY. I think it would be good to let the family know what's going on too, because if you've contacted the FBI and the FBI doesn't follow up on it, at least the family would know about it and they could be rattling the cages on our side of the things as well. So
we've asked, the 800 call FBI number, I've been told, and I haven't verified this to be a fact, but I've been told that 800 numbers work only if you're inside the United States. So if you're, calling from an international phone, a 1-800 number doesn't do anything. So I've sent another email today asking about that and seeing if there's another contact, another phone number that we can put up that works for people outside the country.
While you are in surgery all day helping put people back together, we're out here working for you. So we have the international number and we are going to update that. Are we allowed to talk about those other flyers that are being made yet and what that is, or no?
I don't see why not. No.
Okay. That's just something. We have lots of people that reach out to us to help, and it's just a wonderful thing. But we're really happy that there is a group of 125 people that are going to be traveling to the islands next week, and they are going to be littering 3 different islands down there for us with the new $100,000 reward flyers. And we are going, I never say it correctly. What's the native language there? I always want to say
Pimento.
Yeah. And I just want to say pimento because I like pimento cheese. So I don't know. But yes, they're going to be in that language. We're also going to do some in Dutch. And they're literally going to be everywhere. 125 people are going next week to do that for us. And, they reached out to us and said, we're going and we're going to do it. So huge shout out to that group of people and say prayers for them, as they embark on that little journey next week for us. So if you ever have questions, comments, feel free to reach out. We are pretty good about responding. If you have other questions that we didn't answer tonight, feel free to send me a message and we'll be back here next Tuesday. We're going to be here every Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll have different guests that come on and join us, just like we did tonight. And, we'll answer questions. And we just want to keep talking about Amy as much as we can. And we just appreciate y'all's support. And if you have thoughts, suggestions, or anything, just feel free to send it to us. We're open-minded to any and all.
Hey, Kendra, I'm sorry, Kendra, I beg your pardon, singing Sandy. With Kendra being on the live tonight, I would love to talk a little bit more about the Amy Alert cards that I have put together and kind of promote that if I could.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can private
I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera around here. So I am making these cards right here, right now. I got a little stack of them here. I'm making them during the live, but it is promoting
your camera is not on, girl.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Getting all excited.
Let me, here, hold on. There you go.
You see now. So I'm making these cards here during the live where it's basically talking about exactly what Kendra was talking about, the importance for Amber Alerts and Amy Alerts rather on the sea. Like we had discussed earlier, there's no need to donate, just simply sign and share. It's really simplistic. It's meant to kind of just serve as just a visual representation, a very quick visual representation to people who you run in with your community, like your local bartender or, your school PTA, your church, or your gym. I have been making these here for a while. I have added more to them now to kind of add a little summary of Amy's, in her case. So for people who don't specifically know about Amy and their case, I'm going to try to update this now to include the QR code to the LinkedIn tree there. But if anyone would be interested in receiving these cards to hand out to their community, you can private message either me on Facebook or through TikTok here as well, or Singing Sandy can get you to me as well. So I'm mailing these out to anyone who wants them.
That's awesome, Andy June. Thank you
I
so much.
love that. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Andy. And I'll definitely
Absolutely.
be
Happy to do
messaging
it.
you. Yeah, I
Happy
love
to do it.
that.
I might be taking on more than I can chew with 119 people contacting me for cards, but I'm happy to take it on.
Well,
Oh, I love that. Thank you
we
so
got a
much.
team of people that we have a team of people always willing to help. So if
Absolutely.
it's just reach out when you need help and we can jump in and make that happen. But that's an excellent idea. And a personal touch like that is always good to get, people rallied up. I think you were leaving them at some bars with the bartenders and I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Awesome.
all right, my friend. Well, Brad, anybody else real quick before we go to Brad? Anybody else over here on the panel need to say anything? No? All right. Well, Brad, I'll let you have the last 2 minutes here before we jump off. And we'll see everybody else next Tuesday at 7:30 again. But anything you want us to focus on?
Why you got to put me on the spot like that?
Yeah.
I guess what I would ask everyone here to do is if in any videos that you see, especially the ones where we are specifically addressing our attempts to reach out to Ethan Klein, if you can tag him and or H3 Podcast, you can look up there's 2 emails that I can't recall off the top of my head, but if you Google or use AI to look at the best contact information for that podcast and, send emails and hopefully if we send enough of them, they'll see it. I don't know if they're overlooking the ones that I send because there's, no one's looking at them or there's too many of them to see them all. But any help we can getting his attention, I think is very important at this point.
Yep. All right, friends. Thank you all again for joining us. We'll see you all back here hopefully next Tuesday at 7:30 and bring a friend.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Y'all have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.